So now let's talk about another way in which you can specify CSS rules or cascading style sheet rules. So if you look at this example over here, okay, and this is an HTML file and it spans two slides. So as you can see here, we have the head, and within the head, besides the usual meta element and the title, we have a whole section, which is the style section, right? If you look at line number 11, it says style, type equals text slash CSS. Within that, you see a bunch of code, and that ends with slash style. Okay, so here essentially what we've done is we've specified that wherever there is an EM tag in the document, in the HTML document, then the rules for EM as specified over here need to apply. So for instance, the font has to be bold and the color has to be black. Similarly, again, wherever there is an H1 in the HTML document, the font family to be used is to be Tahoma. If it's not available, then Helvetica. If that's not available, then sans serif. Wherever there's a paragraph or a P, the font size needs to be 12 point. And again, you specify what font family you want to use. Okay, now I'll go over dot special in just a second, but for these three, so if you scroll down to the next slide, you'll notice we have an H1, we have a P, and we do have an EM on line number 32, right, where it says Fortune 1000 companies. So what was the rule again, or what were the rules again for EM? Font weight bold, color black. So let's take a look at how the Fortune 1000 companies gets rendered in here. So as you can see, it's bold, okay, and the italics is because of the EM. The EM is what is the HTML tag for italicizing anything you want. Okay, now going back again, let's take a look at what we did with P. So with P, we said font size is 12 and we specified a font family. And here the P, we have a couple of paragraphs actually, but let's just focus on the first paragraph for now. Okay, which is on line number 24. Okay, so over there it says detail and associates as an authoring and corporate blah blah blah. So let's go back and see if it looks any different from the rest of the page. And yes, it does have a certain font size and it has a certain font type. Okay, now the thing that I didn't talk about, and let's talk about that now, is the last thing that you see within the style section is dot special, and within curly braces it says color colon purple. Okay, now special is just a made up name, it's just a name made up by the programmer, and it's called a class. Okay, and we know it's a class because it begins with a period. Okay, so it's period special color colon purple. So what this means is that this is a rule that can be applied wherever we want in the page. Okay, so in fact, you can apply it selectively to some of the tags in the page. So now if you come here, if you look at line number 31, it says P class equals special, right? Which means that this paragraph will now inherit that rule. And what was that rule again? The rule on line number 17, the dot special is color colon purple. So again, if this was not a black and white picture and it was a color picture, you would notice that that particular paragraph, which begins with the company's clients include many Fortune 1000 companies, that paragraph would be purple in color. And you will be doing a lab where you can try these out. Okay, so the first, again, just to recap, the first way in which we specified CSS rules was putting the rule exactly where it belonged. So for instance, on line number 16 in this case, you have a paragraph P and we say style equals font size colon 20 point. So that particular paragraph, the font size is 20 point. Okay, similarly on line number 20, there's another paragraph. We specify style equals font size 20 point, color colon deep sky blue. Okay, this is one way in which you can specify CSS rules. The second way that we just saw in which you can specify CSS rules is by putting them in the head of your HTML document. And once they're in the head of your HTML document, you can apply them wherever you want. Okay, and that's what you do, and you will have a way of practicing this in your lab.